What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another one. I'm at a little different spot than where you see me last time. That's because that first camera, if you've watched my previous video that I had overlooking that pond with all the lily pads on it in the middle of the sorghum field, my cousin actually used that field to put some of his cows on for his dairy. So they gave me about 512 photos of Holsteins on it. And so I went and I pulled that camera about 2 days early, and I thought, what can I do with it for 2 days and then pull both my cameras at the same time? So the conclusion I came to was to bring it to my grandparents' place, and that's because right here on their driveway is where a bunch of deer cross. And my grandma's seen a few bucks, and I kind of wanted to see what was in the area, just because I could still hunt this place potentially, and I'd also like to know if grandma's seeing every buck that she has down here. I highly doubt it, so I put it over here where my grandpa kept some mineral blocks for the cows. The salt is probably a mild attractant for the deer. They're not there now, but just the residue that's came off of them and on the ground a little bit. So I'm gonna go over here, pull this camera, and I will give you a rundown of some of the pictures from the first few days and then what I've got these last 2 days. Alright, coming up on this second set. I'm gonna try and do this fairly quickly for two major reasons. One, it's about 2:45 right now. I had some things I had to take care of in between that last pickup and now, and it's 94 degrees, so it's hot out here. Also, I'm sure that walking in here I got covered with ticks and chiggers. So I'm going to pull this camera and then I'm going to go home and get washed off. So I'll grab this and then we'll see what's on it. Well, that was some pretty interesting footage and pictures. Looks like there's a few more, about 8-point bucks, 9-point bucks in the area, which is pretty cool seeing them this early, still in velvet. This camera that I had out at the pond originally, of course I have to move that because those cows are in there now. So I'm gonna show you, I had a spot I really wanted to set this camera on. Maybe I will in the future. I haven't really hashed out exactly how I'm going to do that, but I'll give you a look here. So this right here behind me is just an area filled with paths, but it's very thick, but it opens up back inside all that brush. I'd love to put something here. I thought about putting it on one of these trees. Like right here's another open area with some paths. I thought about putting it on this small tree right here, but I just think there's too much brush. So what I'm gonna settle on is just a little ways down here this white post. I'm going to try and put this camera on there. The reason being, there is a small trail where something's coming through there, so I'd like to see what that is. And I think if I point the camera back in on that trail that goes right up through there, I may not have as many pictures of wind. I'm probably going to leave this just on the picture mode instead of video mode, because it's supposed to storm tonight, and I'm sure if it rains and there's a lot of wind, I'll have 50 videos of nothing but limbs shaking. So until I can find a place where there's less likely to have a lot of grass or tree limbs triggering the video mode, I'm probably going to stick to some images, and then the areas I know where it'll be mostly deer just tripping it, I'll keep the other camera on video mode there. So I'm going to try and put this on that little white electric fence post, and hopefully that'll hold it up, and then we'll come back and see what it has in a week. Alright, I just got this camera chip put back in, and I've altered the angle slightly because right there is where I come in on that path. And the whole reason I even put this camera here was because I seen that path through that tall grass, and I knew that there was something moving through here because there's no cows that it's actually in this area. So whenever I initially came, I was going to put camera up and point it at that trail. I was going to put the camera on this tree, but it is pretty large and I didn't have enough string basically to tie it to that tree, and I didn't want to put it too high up also. So I put it on this tree and I've angled it downhill, so hopefully if those deer work their way up here, they will get caught on the camera. And the whole reason I put this in here was because I figured they were moving through here to go bed somewhere. It's pretty thick up in there, so I figured that was a fairly decent bedding area. A lot of shade. It is almost 9:30, so sun's coming up still, but it still stays relatively shaded, even over there where the sun's pretty high already in the sky. So I'll keep these out for another week, and then we'll do another update. Like always, everybody, thanks for watching, and if you have any comments or suggestions for me to help me out, feel free to leave them. Ooh, mosquito. In the comments below, and then we will see what we can get into next time. So until then, bye-bye.